Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a prototype copy of Bugz, a new family card game by Amuza Games. Bugz, you gotta love them. In fact, you love them so much, you try to collect as many of those little pests as possible. Just like yourself, they are always hungry and searching for the most delicious meals such as moldy bread or rotten meat, and on occasions a stray cat. In Bugz, you are trying to catch the most bugs by using the right lures at the right time. However, action cards are played by every player throwing a wrench into the works. If you can predict what your opponents are going to do and anticipate their actions, you can stop them and further your own agenda. The player with the most bug tokens at the end of 9 rounds wins the game. Each player will have a similar set of 9 lure cards and 10 action cards matching their player color. The 9 bug cards are shuffled and placed in the middle of the table. You will flip over and use one of these cards each round of the game, and you will be using one of your lure cards and 1 action card per round. The bug tokens are placed in the middle near the bug cards to be used in the game. During the round, the top card is flipped over on the table, and this is now the active card. The number of corresponding bugs depicted on the card are placed out next to each side of that card, and these are the bugs you are wanting to collect. The next card is then also flipped over but kept on the top of the deck to help players plan for the next round, because once a lure or action card is used once, it can't be used again for that player. Simultaneously, players will look through their lure cards and pick one card to play to attract as much bugs as they can. The obvious card might not end up being the best card, as players will mess with other players or make their own situation better by using an action card. But you will want to use one of your lure cards that will attract a certain type of bug. Moldy bread will attract cockroaches, rotting meat will attract maggots, and mangy cats will attract fleas. Choosing a lure with additional icons will help you catch more bugs, most likely, but you won't be able to use that lure again later in the game, even if there is an even better situation that presents itself. Each player will then place their chosen lure card face down on the table, and once everyone has chosen a card, all cards will be revealed at the same time. And now that players can see what other players are gunning for, everyone will choose to play one of their action cards. Again, knowing they won't be able to play it again in the game. The action cards are also revealed at the same time, and those actions are resolved in ascending order from 1 to 10. Actions might consist of adding more bug tokens on the side of where your lure is located, removing bug tokens from the opposite side that your card is on, turning the bug card, freezing the bugs till next round, or several other ways to gain more bug tokens. After all actions are resolved, the bug tokens are distributed by putting 1 bug token on every correct lure shown on each player's card, distributing the bugs evenly compared to the number of lures on the cards. If there are more lure icons placed out than there are bug tokens available for that certain type, then all the bug tokens of that type will remain until the next round. Again, it's important to understand that these cards are played with the lowest numbered card being first, so another player can change things up before your action card is activated. So players who want to plan or play more strategically can try to remember what cards each player has played and best guess what they might play in the current round, while other more casual players can just focus on themselves and still feel satisfied with the surprises and changes the game brings. For example, here on the bug card there are 5 cockroaches and 2 maggots. 2 players played moldy bread cards to lure in the cockroaches, and 1 player has 2 moldy bread and the other has 1. The third player played a rotting meat card with 1 rotten meat listed on it. Players then play their action cards. You can see here that each player has now chosen one, and starting with the lowest to the highest, cards will be resolved. So this number 2 card is first, so 3 bug tokens are added to this side of cockroaches. This player was clever and played the number 4 card, spinning the side with more bug tokens towards them. Lastly, this player played the number 7 card, so normally if bug tokens can't be distributed evenly, then the remaining bug tokens are left on that side for the next round. So this number 7 card gives that player all those remaining tokens instead. So let's distribute the tokens out now. This player did awesome, and they take all 8 tokens as there are no one else to share them with. Now let's go to the other 2 players. And normally, if there were more bug tokens, they would be given like this. 2 to this player, and then 1 to this player. 2 to this player, and 1 to this player. If there were any number of tokens left without being split by 3, then they would be left behind for next round. Now, there are only 2 bug tokens actually, and so they can't be split up to 3. So they will stay for the next round and the players will get none of them. But then, if you remember the number 7 card, this player actually collects the remaining tokens left over. So they will actually take the 2, and this other player will still get none. Players will do this for 9 rounds, using up their cards, and at times using whatever leftover cards they have to up their number of bugs. If you get stuck with having to play a lure card that has no matching bug types out there, then you cannot claim any of the bug tokens that round. Your action card is still resolved as normal, but some action cards might be useless because of this. The player with the most bugs at the end of the 9 rounds is the winner. Bugz is a nice game that can be played and enjoyed by a mixture of all different types of players. Players newer to games, kids, strategic gamers, or players who like a more relaxed game. There are layers that can be enjoyed by all of these different types of players. For me, I enjoy how players start on even playing fields, starting with the same cards, but after just a couple rounds, it seems like everything is different for each player. It's not just the action cards, but also the lure cards. Each card might have a good opportunity for it to be used, but another player can also use a certain card to ruin your opportunity and giving them a leg up in the game. So really, there is no certain card to play each time because you never know what other players are going to play. So you can plan and strategize to a point, but with so many different options and so many different ways that the cards can be blended with each other, you really don't know what will happen each round. I was surprised plenty of times when playing the game of the outcomes that happened in several of the rounds. The game makes me think of campy creature type feel, as there is a portion of deduction and bluffing, and players all start with the same cards that when used are then gone. Bugz does this with a second layer, as you have action cards, but also specific lures. If you run out of a specific lure type, then it might be easier for the other players to know what you might be doing, making it easier for them as well. But that's also only if they remember all that information. Ultimately, Bugz brings to us a family game of taking advantage of opportunities, trying to possibly guess the outcomes, and playing certain cards to attract the most bugs. If you don't mind the theme of collecting what your mama told you not to, then I'd grab a copy of the game before it bugs you that you didn't. Grab your moldy bread, your rotten meat, and your nasty cat, attracting the most bugs to win in the new family card game, Bugz by Amuza Games. Again, this is Boardgame Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.